Sometimes, the best way to inspire change is to confront decision makers in a concerted action. This is what we call community action, and this can range from organizing a letter writing campaign to assembling tens of thousands of people in the state or national capital to protest government actions. This section looks at organizing communities to engage in community action, why and how to do it, when it's appropriate, and what it might accomplish. Welcome to the fifth lesson on community engagement, solidarity, and citizenship, where we are going to tackle and we are going to talk about undertaking community action modalities. This is your lecturer, Miss Apple. Before we officially start our discussion and our topic for this session, let's have a quick review first on the things that we have discussed based on our lecture on the different typologies of communities. So we have discussed the different classification of communities, namely the rural-urban communities, local global communities, and physical space or virtual space communities. Rural areas are separate from the influence of large cities and towns, known as countryside, farmlands, and etc., while the urban communities are called cities or towns. Local communities are social integration of people in a community, while global communities function as system integration. Physical space refers to the unlimited three-dimensional expanses in which material objects are located, while virtual social space refers to non-physical spaces created by the development of technology. We also talked about the different types of communities, where we talked about geographic community or neighborhood, which focuses on the physical boundaries that make it distinct or separate, such as a river or a street. We also talked about the second type of community, which is community of identity. Community of identity has common identifiable characteristics or attributes like culture, language, and etc. We also talked about community of interest, where this community incorporates social movements such as women's rights, environment, peace, and human rights. Last but not the least, intentional community, which refers to individuals that come together voluntarily and support each other for a certain cause. After going through this lecture, you are expected to recognize the value of undertaking community action modalities. This competency should be established so that we will understand how local residents or members of the community has the ability to retain community identities, maintain local control over decision-making, and address their own developmental needs. It is a central component of a community and the social well-being of all the members of the society. What is community action? Community action is a manifestation of a collective control and ownership of a situation that generally influences the people in the community. Such situation connects their sense and sensibilities as individuals and as a group. Community action is the process of taking action, usually as part of an organized group or community, to create positive changes. Sometimes social action can lead to profound social change, as in the case of the civil rights movement. Sometimes social action seeks more limited and specific changes, like the preservation of an open space, for example, or better pay for a specific group of workers. These are the three modalities of community action. According to Wikipedia, when we talk about modalities in sociology, this refers to the way in which infrastructure and knowledge of how to use it give rise to a meaningful pattern of interaction, a concept in Anthony Giddens' structuration theory, meaning all of these modalities, the community engagement, solidarity, and citizenship, are important structures that make up our community and this subject as well. Community engagement as the first modality of community action. Each member of the community has a part to do, and only when those roles are performed that community functions harmoniously and effectively. Being a responsible member of the community helps to support community's growth and development. Goals of every community vary as communities have different needs and different wants. Members and individuals who are living in the community must get involved, must participate in interviews, group discussions, and surveys. In this way, community leaders and the ones who are leading the community can assess of a possible program and intervention to take and or plot a solution of observed problems in the local community. To engage means to connect. So community engagement means that through connecting and networking that we can voice out beautiful ideas that can be used by all. Everybody must have the sense of community wherein they feel that they are the ones responsible in making things work for them and for their neighbors. Here is a wonderful quote by Chavez D. and Wondersman from 2002, which is very relevant in our understanding on community engagement. When people share a strong sense of community, they are motivated and empowered to change problems they face and are better able to mediate the negative effects over things which they have no control. So community engagement is therefore a strategic process with a specific goal of working with identified groups of individuals, whether they are connected by geographic location, special interest, or affiliation or connection, to identify and recognize issues affecting the well-being and the well-being of the members of the community. The linking of the term community to engagement serves to broaden the scope, shifting the focus from the member to the collective, with the associated implications for inclusiveness to ensure consideration is made of the diversity that exists within any community. The second modality in community action is solidarity. Solidarity in community building, everybody must be given the opportunity to contribute and be heard. Community members must work and perform as one. Everybody must be given equal chance to experience what their community could offer. Unity or solidarity is needed for everybody's survival. Unity is a vital aspect that safeguards us from all harm and negativity in the community. By supporting and helping each other, we can face and conquer all negativity and problems together. Only when we stand united do we achieve freedom from negative influences. A united community means that we are in a safer community. The third and final modality of community action is citizenship. A citizen is a member of a political community who enjoys the rights and assumes the duties of membership. This is according to SAP 2006. It is the members of the community that serves, and it is also the people who makes a community whole or as one. In its strictest sense, citizenship is a legal status that means a person has the right to live in a country, a state, or their local community, and that country or state or geographical area cannot refuse them entry or deport them. This legal status may be conferred at birth or in sometimes obtained through naturalization. In some countries, citizenship can mean a citizen has the right to vote, the right to hold government offices, and the right to collect unemployment insurance payments, to name a few examples. Living in a country does not mean that a person is necessarily a citizen of that country. The important ingredients of community action, which I'm going to discuss next, are what we call the must-dos in planning a community action. Here are the 6 important ingredients of community action, starting with common context. People live in a similar setting and or locality. In common experiences, the second ingredient of community action, people come across similar experience individually or collectively. The third ingredient is common understanding of an issue. People have more or less a comparable view of the issue at hand. The fourth ingredient is common analysis. People went through a process of analyzing the issue and may have the same take on the issue, partly or in a whole. The fifth important ingredient of community action is an acceptable standard. People usually establish a minimum standard in executing an action together. The last important ingredient of community action is action acceptable to the community. People discuss and agree on what action or initiative to take, who will take the lead, who will do the supporting roles, and who will do the other tasks. To increase our understanding on the important ingredients of community action, here are additional information. On common context, it is the base in establishing a common lens. The members of the community must come from a familiar, if not a similar, milieu or setting. For the second one, common experience, this gives the people of a community a sense of being one, thus creating a common sentiment in the community. This drives the community to stick together in achieving the same cause. Third one is common understanding of an issue. This elevates a community relationship from a feeling level to a thinking level. It translates the emotional state to a more objective perspective of the situation. For common analysis, as the fourth ingredient of community action, this puts emphasis on the community members' understanding of the issue to a certain perspective based on core values and principles. This ingredient may strengthen or break community relations. For example, those who promote the reproductive rights law will form another. Their selection is based on a certain principle and perspective on the right to life. The fifth ingredient is acceptable standard. This ingredient paves the way for a process of reaching compromises, setting minimum standards, and targeting bottom lines. Often because of differences in core values and principles, the community will target minimum standards. These targets or processes must always be evident and cannot be ever compromised. The last and the sixth ingredient of community action is action acceptable to the community. This ingredient comprises proper planning and intervention among the members in the community. Planning is essential so that tasks are appropriately distributed to all members of the community. There is no single concept of community organization practice. Rather, there are varied conceptualizations. Fundamentally, however, there are four general phases of the basic community organization process, according to Andres from 1988. These help determine the nature of community organization, practice, and the particular role functions of community development organization workers. These phases are the following. The first phase is issue identification, analysis, and dissemination. This aspect is a key step towards the development of community action. Relevant community information is collected, consolidated, analyzed, defined, processed, and disseminated. In this stage, real needs are recognized and differentiated from felt needs. Debates, dialogues, and sharing of thoughts are undertaken. Also, relationships are built and strengthened in this phase. The second phase is mobilization of community. This phase is a step of gathering people to meet regularly, discuss community concerns, plan as a community, formulate implementing mechanisms, determine community leaders and organizational structure, and develop systems. In this phase, work is systematized and the people are organized. It is where agreements and processes are aligned. In this phase, meaning people are stimulated to come together to discuss different problems from the community. They call meetings where community concerns are identified and recognized. Problems are analyzed together with the members of the community. Objectives, plan of action, and implementation are set. Potential leaders are identified and community work are stimulated. The third phase is organization. This is the built-in phase where all the resources, material or non-material, process or product, soft or hard technology, and physical and spiritual components are mapped out and synthesized. It is the phase where what is lacking and what is available are determined. Strengths and weaknesses are identified, options are determined, and plans are implemented in a systematic and organized manner. This is a combining of constructive forces of men and materials, machinery, equipment, and money, so that they may work together in an orderly fashion to turn out finished goods for profit, render services to the community. The last phase is on education. These are the skills development or human resource enhancement stage. Members are provided with the important skills, knowledge, and orientation. This is a prerequisite for the start of duties and responsibilities as members and officers of the community or organization. The success of community action may depend on how efficient and effective the members and officers are in the community. This is the phase where members of the community are educated to assume responsibility for their organization and to acquire the organizational skills and techniques essential to organization maintenance. To facilitate a process of appreciating community dynamics, community change agents must be aware of the following. First, You need to know the community issue, its history and roots, how it developed, what facilitated its growth, and where it is now. Number 2, analyze the issue from different perspectives. Identify the issue and look at it through different lenses. Map out and analyze the different perspectives. Number 3, identify and get to know the relevant community structures and systems. What structures and systems may facilitate or hinder the success of an action? Number 4, identify and get to know the players who are involved in this issue, who are the interest groups. Number 5, identify community power actors, again, who are involved in this issue and who are their interests in the issue. Number 6, trace connections. Map out linkages of the stakeholders. This will provide a picture of the strengths and weaknesses of the people who are involved and what resources they have. Macmillan and Chavez from 1976 expounded on their theory by providing us with 4 contributory factors. Number 1 is membership. This is a feeling of belonging or of sharing a sense of personal relatedness within the members of the community. This concept includes the following attributes like boundaries, emotional safety, a sense of belongingness and identification, personal community, and a common symbol system in the community. Number 2, influence. This is also understood as a sense of mattering. Its basis is that it is to work both ways, with members feeling that they are influencing the members of the community and the community itself, and the community having influence over its members. Number 3, integration and fulfillment of needs. In essence, this means that by becoming a member of the community, that member gets what he or she hoped to get by joining. The last factor is shared emotional connection. All communities, being made up of people or individuals, have their own unique story. Thank you so much for listening to today's lecture. Before I leave and before I end my discussion for today, I'm going to leave a wonderful quote by Coretta Scott King. The greatness of a community is a community most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. King perfectly said it, pointing out that though a community would be a group of people connected by mutual goals, the action of its people is what makes it powerful. The impact can be established to inspire change in communities and across the globe through compassion. Organizations and communities may use their resources and wide reach to empower groups and people to create such impacts. Community values are founded on certain initiatives and programs to give back to the community. Community action initiatives worldwide have established a history of empowering communities. Here are the references for today's lecture, and this is Miss Apple signing off.